And we're back here right now with Game 3 of Imagine Wagons versus Prismatic Esports. And we had a really exciting Game 1 and Game 2. A bit one-sided on both parts, but swinging both ways here. As we saw in Game 1, it was Prismatic just completely wrecking the early game. And Game 2, Imagine Wagons wrecking it even harder in the early game here. So Game 3 is going to be a volatile one. We'll have to see if one of the sides pop off or whether we end up getting a bit more of a mud match here as both teams struggle to stay in it and to look for a win here. Random Minute on the blue side for this game. It's going to be Prismatic Esports back on the blue side. Same roster as before. And on the red side, it's going to be Imagine Wagons. No changes there either. Now, in terms of bans for Prismatic, we're still seeing the Warwick ban, and indeed they are going to drop the Morgana in favor of Leona as expected, and the Echo. And then for the last two bans, they're banning out ADCs this time, and they ban out Jhin as well as Jinx, surprisingly here. And for Imagine Wagons, they're banning the Graves, Hecarim, Darius, Rakan, and Pyke. So continuing to make sure Matsi stays off of that Hecarim. And big changes here for the side of Prismatics. They've completely switched their picks up. They picked the Olaf, Mordekaiser, Garen, Ashe, and Nautilus. And, oh, pardon me, that is not a Mordekaiser. That is a Fizz. So, a mistake on their part. It's an Olaf, Fizz, Garen, Ashe, Nautilus here. So, complete change up. And I'm very excited to see what we can expect out of that. Olaf, been a bit of a miss or hit champion here in the league thus far. Saturday, we saw Nonstop Brain struggle to have an impact on the Olaf, but on Friday, we did see Olaf become an absolute monster, so we'll have to see what type of Olaf we'll see coming out of Matsi here. And on the side of Imagine Wagons, their roster, their pick, not that much different, at least in the beginning. They've got the Lucian and Sin out once again. That Lucian able to flex between XX Wolf and Imagine is going to keep Prismatic guessing on their feet for a little bit. Then they're going to go with the Annie this time, which finally wasn't banned for Wild Goose Chase. And we'll have to see how that turns out, considering that it was banned. So obviously, Prismatic a little scared of the Annie there. And their bot lane going to be the Braum Caitlyn. And now in terms of the draft for Imagines, I'm still liking it quite a bit here. They do have a very solid early game. Annie really strong early. Spikes at 6. The bot lane with the Caitlyn and Braum. Caitlyn is late game insurance, while at the same time having the early game dominance from the range, from the traps, from the Piltover Peacemaker here. So really solid pickup from Imagine Wagons in terms of their draft thus far. The only concern though is that come the mid game, yes, you've got the Annie who can output a lot of damage. You've got the Braum with the Glacial Fissure. But besides that, you don't have a ton of AoE damage and you don't have a true tank. So, or Braum being the true tank as a support means that it won't be as tanky as if you had drafted a true tank in the jungle or in one of the solo lanes here. So we'll have to be a little bit more careful as the game scales up. And if you look at the side of Prismatic Esports, they've got a more standard draft. They've got an assassin who can get into the backline, take down Imagines on that Lucian, take down XX Wolf on the Caitlyn. They've got sustained damage coming up from So Amusing, and they've got tanks and bruisers galore here. They've got the Nautilus, the Olaf, the Garen. So I'm liking the late game sort of vibe here from Prismatic Esports. If it does come down to that, the only question is, can they survive the early game? And unfortunately, in this series thus far, the early game looks to be the more important part of the game, because a lot of times we've not been seeing the games go late. It's just been whoever can sort of take over the early game and run away with it here is the team that ends up winning it. So I do have some reservations about Prismatic's draft here, especially in the early game. So I am favoring Imagine Wagons just out of the draft for the first little bit. But we'll have to see how the mechanics comes down and who ends up winning that. In that top lane, it's going to be very similar to Game 2 with the melee versus range matchup. I think Garen going to have a bit of an easier time as the gap closer a little bit to speed up to walk in. He will, I expect, lose the lane solo 1v1 though, unless we get interference from the junglers. And Matsi with that undertow is one of the melee champions who can really chase down a Lucian. Lucian extremely mobile, but not the range on that dash is not huge. So if you can land the undertow, you can just keep running, chasing, and eventually killing that Lucian as well. And Matsi, as the jungle Olaf, has a lot of gankable lanes right now, and he doesn't have an built-in escape in the bot lane as well. Spenlow and XX Wolf, yes, they do have a little bit of dashes, but they have the Nautilus to set up ganks. At level 6, we'll have both Depth Charge and Enchanted Crystal Arrow as well. So I think that Matsi has a chance to really get snowballing. And if that Olaf gets snowballing, if he can do what we saw in game 1 where he can just find a huge lead onto Granddaddy Jax, well, then Prismatic can easily close this one out. So I'm really looking at Matsi to be the difference here for the game, really, to see if he can take over, win this one here as a win condition for his team. And mid lane as well, Mickey Mouse for the win has been playing champions who haven't exactly been designed to sort of kill and carry here. Wild Goose Chase as well on the Corki, on the Oriana, a bit more passive. So now with the Annie, with the Fizz, mid lane going to be a lot more volatile. And considering that how passive both these laners have been, very much looking forward to seeing what happens when you put both of them onto volatile champions here. So far, Spendle and Exodus Wolf getting good trades in the bot lane right now. They get quite a bit of damage onto So Amusing. So that's a good start for them, and we've seen what happens that if they do get a good start, they can take over a game a little bit. So the bot lane as well, doing quite well for themselves. And Dark Prince on this Nautilus, on the Rakan, he was extremely engage heavy, and now that he's not on the Rakan, I want to see if he can still have that same level of skill here. Mid lane so far, Mickey Mouse not losing out too badly considering that he is the melee into the range matchup thus far. So that bodes well for him because come 6 is when both of them are going to get extremely volatile. But really it's about 3 or 4 where Mickey Mouse starts to get the mobility he needs to be able to engage onto the Annie safely and get his burst down. He does have the electrocute as well. So should be able to see quite a bit of a burst coming out of him. And we do see the Predator coming out of Wild Goose Chase on the Annie. Dredge line coming out does find Spenlo, but the Unbreakable nullifying a lot of the damage coming out from So Amusing for now, and we've seen this matchup before. But with the Unbreakable, there's not a lot of Pokia can do, so Spenlo should be safe to eat all the Dredge lines. And now the junglers might meet up here. The ward getting dropped here means that Matsi will get spotted out, but it's going to be Mickey Mouse rotating first, and that's going to dissuade Granddaddy Jax from trying to contest this one. Dark Prince has been hitting his Dredge line on a couple of minions. That's not necessarily the best start for him there, so has to be careful. And one thing to note with the Annie, with the Predators, is that with the Predators, it's not just a benefit for ganking that we see a lot of times for the junglers. It's actually really strong in lane as well. Will enable Wild Goose Chase to just run in and get that summon Tibbers off on the target of choice. Now we do see the exhaust being thrown down very early onto Matsi here. And So Amusing not with the rest of his team, but they're actually turning the tides because Mickey Mouse rotating first in the damage. With the Ignite coming down, they won't be able to find anything. Quite top lane instead is where the first blood comes down. The Ignite from Just Storming gets the kill onto Imagines. And one thing to note, both top laners not carrying teleport. We do see Granddaddy Jax getting killed here with Spenlo soon to follow. And that's a 3 for 0 right now for the side of Prismatic to start this one off. And given the way this series has been going, that's really bad for Imagine Wagons. Because so far, the team which has managed to get an early lead just absolutely takes over a game. And that's a double kill onto Matsi. I had said that Matsi is one of the keys here for the side of Prismatic to look for a win. And they got him an early double kill. That's absolutely massive for them. They also got the first blood onto Just Storming. And Just Storming has shown that he's more than capable of taking games over if you give him a lead. I'm a little surprised actually that he did manage to get the solo kill onto Imagines. Imagines and him both taking combat summoners here. So Exhaust on the side of Imagines, Ignite on the side of Just Storming, and somehow they're I'm not sure, unfortunately didn't get to see how that happened, but Just Storming able to find the 1v1 kill. Has gone back, has bought himself boots to start off, and that's going to be huge for closing the gap. If he can close the gap, if he can stay on Imagines, he can definitely kill him there. So really good item choice here, itemization from the side of Just Storming. And mid lane, they're even in CS right now. Wild Goose Chase and Mickey Mouse for the win. We do see Wild Goose Chase going back, picking up some items, but it's a Sapphire Crystal here along with the boots. So the boots will be nice to engage, but the Sapphire Crystal not going to give any combat stats for the next little while. And with the volatile lane like that, against the Fizz who can 100 to 0 you with the Chum the Waters, I'm not sure that was a right choice. I think Ruby Crystal might have been a better buy if he is going to build into a Catalyst there, which I suspect we might see. Or perhaps it might just be a component for the Lost Chapter. And we do see Mickey Mouse not yet going back to base, opting to go up there, but there is a ward freshly placed here from Granddaddy Jax. So will not be able to find anything onto Imagines, and that would have been a great use of Chum the Waters, finding that squishy in the top lane with the dive from Just Storming and the Demacian Justice as well. They could have looked for an easy dive, but the good ward from Granddaddy Jax, the proactive placement of that vision here, will be able to keep Imagine safe. Now Mickey Mouse back to lane here with the double amp tomes. We'll have to see if he can manage to win this trade. He has higher damage in the straight up fight, but it's really going to come down to a question if he feels comfortable and if Wagons steps out far enough. And we do see now the dragon being taken. Ocean Drake once again. So that's the second time this series where Ocean Drake has been the first Drake. And it looks like Prismatic going to pull the trigger on this one, pardon me. So that's going to benefit their lanes a lot. It's going to help Mickey Mouse a lot trying to sustain against Wild Goose Chase in lane, as well as Just Storming, who's going to constantly be taking poke from Imagines here. Surprisingly right now, this bot lane with Dark Prince, who was the ultra aggressive player in the last two games, is now just really playing quite passively here. No real action against XX Wolf and Spenlow, and it's really hard to get a good engage against a Braum Caitlyn, where Braum can just eat all your engages, and Caitlyn's just so far away that it's so difficult to land a Dredge Line or even the depth charge onto her. No level 6 ultimates available yet. We'll check back into this bot lane when they hit 6 and have those ultimates available, because I think that's when we'll start seeing some action here. And in the top side, Imagines right now actually falling behind a little bit in CS against Just Storming. And pardon me, as we looked away from the bot lane, they did actually manage to find a kill onto Spenlow. Last we checked, he was a little low on health here, but I'm guessing they just managed to 100-0 him. Ignite not even being used. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow is available. As soon as it came out, I think they just used it right away onto XX Wolf. Now Chum the Waters onto XX Wolf. The flash coming out as well to heal, but it wasn't enough. And the Ignite from Mickey Mouse going to be able to pick that one up, but Mickey Mouse now completely out of mana. Granddaddy Jax able to just pound away onto them. So amusing, and Dark Prince coming up, but once again, Dredgeline not quite finding the champions. Gonna hit the minions instead, and now Dark Prince getting stunned up. Can he get away? Does not have the flash available. He's gonna go down. So they end up trading Dark Prince's life to buy time to keep Mickey Mouse alive for now. It's gonna be a 1-for-1 in that bot lane. And Wild Goose Chase is looking potentially to see if he can catch out Mickey Mouse there. Does have the Predator's boots. The ward being dropped means that it will be spotted, will be cleared out as well. And Mickey Mouse has to be careful. He opts to take this one here. He might get burst down, but nope, he did not. He takes the long way around, and that means he will be safe for now. And after that huge brawl in near the Dragon Pit, which got Imagine Wagons their huge lead, they've not really been pushing it that much. Not Imagine Wagons. I keep getting their names swapped up for some reason. Prismatic, pardon me. After that early brawl, which saw them get the lead, they don't seem to have really done much with it here. Yes, they did get the dragon, but when we saw Imagine Wagons get a lead, they knew how to close it out a lot faster here, rushing that Herald early. And once again, Herald doesn't seem to be a priority here for Prismatic. They're just happy to let it sit and chill for now. Demacia just trying to farm up a Storm, trying to get that level 1 lead, that game 1 lead, pardon me, that he got back in game 1 against the Amumu. But this time, Granddaddy Jax, while down a level, is still able to farm up quite nicely, so will not be falling too far behind for now. And if we take a quick look at where this gold lead is, it's a 2,000 gold lead. A lot of it sitting in that top side, 900 gold in that top lane. In the jungle, only a 600 gold lead, and the rest in that bot lane, another 800 gold lead here. So it's great that Just Storming has this lead, but he's you can see having problems poking out onto Imagines. Imagine's fairly safe, full on health right now, is getting shoved in, is missing a little bit of CS, but not a huge lead, and he will skill up higher, faster than the Garen there. Especially once he manages to get that Blade of the Ruined King for himself, will be able to start trading much more effectively. Glacial Fissure coming out, will not find anybody, the range is too far. Enchanted Crystal Arrow gonna counter out to stop the engage from Granddaddy Jax. Don't think it was necessarily needed, but I don't think they'll miss it all too much right now. Instead, we do see a missed dredge line once again from Dark Prince there, but the depth charge is a point and click. They will find it. Flash coming in here from Matsi, and he's going to be able to get the kill. Ragnarok turned on just to ensure that there's no follow-up. The Predator coming in from Wild Goose Chase, and they're going to be able to just burst So Amusing down. Now Dark Prince is looking to try and get away. Does use the flash, but will go golden. Will it be enough? No, it will not. And now Wild Goose Chase is going to tank up the turret shot. He's low. Can Matsi clean this one up here? No, he's scared to go in. There's too much CC. He has no more Ragnarok available. And that's going to be a 2-for-1 trade in favor of Imagine Wagons. They fire back. They do not want to give this game 3 up here. And now Granddaddy Jax and Matsi spot each other in the 1v1. Matsi looking to try and get the undertows off. Can he get it? Yes, he can. In that 1v1, the lower he goes, the more damage he deals. And that was all that was needed to turn the tide. But the ace in the hole going to come out and pick up the bounty here. Definitely a worthwhile trade. 1-for-1. And that's a bounty going to XX Wolf there. XX Wolf picking up the call here. Looking like he's playing a bit passively. Mickey Mouse sitting on top of a ward will just go back to base. Will not be able to find XX Wolf again. So just bits of components here from XX Wolf for now, with the BF Sword, with the Kershi Shard, as well as the call. Boom. And as long as XX Wolf can continue keeping things fairly even in this bot lane here, that's going to be him skilling up harder than So Amusing. So we'll be able to remain safe. And now it's going to be Imagine Wagons starting up the second Drake. It's going to be the Mountain Drake for themselves here. Matsi, no flash available, no blast cone either. We'll have to give this one up. Instead, it's going to be Chum the Waters coming down. Will not land on anybody. Instead, Enchanto Crystal Arrow coming down. And that's going to be Granddaddy Jax dead. Instead, So Amusing going to heal to get out. And that's going to be a free steal for Prismatic, because Granddaddy Jax is already dead. Now Wild Goose Chase is not able to run out. Matsi going to be able to train him down with the repeated undertows. And Prismatic somehow finding that Drake there, as well as 2 kills for themselves. Now top lane, Just Storming coming in from behind, has caught Imagines between a rock and a hard place here. The culling coming across will only chunk Just Storming for about 10%. That's really not what you want to see, but there's no Blade of the Ruined King yet, and there's just so much armor on the side of Just Storming with the Ninja Tabbies being built so early there. So Amusing and Dark Prince have to be careful not to overstay in this bot lane right now. They are kind of low from that last fight. Wanted to get a bit more plating here. I think they did manage to get at least 1 plate. Other than that, what is Dark Prince doing? He's went back in there. The stun comes out. Glacial Fissure, and that's a dead Dark Prince. A free kill being given over to XX Wolf, and now he's 2-2-1 now. They do have to be careful because Granddaddy Jax is in the area as well. Matsi waiting in the wings, but So Amusing is low. He probably doesn't want to initiate this one here. And just a bit of an odd turn of events in that bot lane from Dark Prince. I think perhaps he forgot he's not on Rakan. On the Nautilus, you go in, you can't get back out. You either win that fight or you die. So he went in extremely low there, and Spenlow was not in range of turret either, so he ends up giving a free kill over to the AD carry. Now Granddaddy able to pick up the scuttle here, but has to be careful. Does not manage to get the counter. The Predator's coming up from Wild Goose Chase. He's looking to get the Summon Timbers. Will be able to find and instantly burst Mickey Mouse down. 100-0 in less than 3.5 for sure. Just Storming coming back, managing to get a return kill at least. So the answer 1-for-1 for now. But this Annie from Wild Goose Chase, we're seeing why Prismatic had it banned. They did not feel comfortable trying to handle that one here, and that Predator's Annie doing work. Bot lane, So Amusing having to handle the 1v2 right now, but there's no plate, so he can afford to let the damage soak into that turret a little bit here. He has to be careful of his health. Is extremely low, less than 50% honestly after that trade. Having the Essence Reaver as well as the Berserker's Greaves built, he outputs more damage than XX Wolf, but the poke XX Wolf can put up with that Storm Razors with a headshot proc is something that they do have to be careful of. And Dark Prince not tanky enough just yet. Rushing that the Aegis here, interestingly enough, there's not a lot of magic damage coming out into the bot lane, but he's just wanting, I guess, to try and get that shield online for So Amusing, keep the rest of his team safe as well. So far, 15, almost 16 minutes into the game, and no turrets gone down yet. Just Storming looking for the first one there. Should be able to get it, and that will be first brick going to Prismatic. And their lead, only about a 3k gold lead right now. Really hasn't grown since that earlier fight. So imagine Wagons doing much better this game 3 here to stop the snowball. Bot lane, the flash is coming out, and we do see the enchanted crystal arrow coming out. It does land on Granddaddy Jax. The stun will land, but the damage not really much. Wagons is having to try and flash to safety, but it's relative safety because he can't get quite far enough, and Matty able to turn around, get himself a double kill. He's now 7-1-1. Flashbacks to game 1 on the Hecarim here. Dark Prince getting the depth charge off, but that's not an offensive depth charge. That's just a defensive one, trying to buy time for him and so amusing to get out. And XX Wolf looking like he's coming online in that bot lane right now, able to win a lot of these trades here. And Herald finally going down. It's almost 17 minutes before they finally did get the Herald here, and it's going to go on to Just Storming. So the question is, are they going to leave Just Storming pushing that top lane, or are they going to rotate him somewhere else? Looks like they're going to send him mid to get this with Mickey Mouse here, but bot lane, XX Wolf taking that lane dominance and translating it to a turret here. They managed to even out the turret score for all of about 5 seconds before Shelly takes yet another one in the mid lane. And Just Storming might have run the wrong way here because he's run into Imagines. The stun comes across Tibbers as well, and they're going to be able to pick this one up. It's going to be Granddaddy Jax picking up the 150 gold bounty there off of Matsy. And after all that action, still only a 3k gold lead here at 17 minutes. Definitely not a big one here for Prismatic. They do, however, have a lot of that lead sitting on the right person in the form of Matsy. He's 7,800 gold right now. Highest in the game by a long shot here. And they're setting up for this Drake. It's going to be Inferno. So both teams wanting that Inferno. They want to make sure they're the ones with the higher damage. Especially how volatile a lot of these lanes have been here. Just Storming does not have teleport, is running back out from base, but the good news is Wild Goose Chase's Tibbers has just expired and it will not be available for a while yet. Enchanted Crystal Arrow coming out. Spenlow able to block this one, but Matsy going in after exit will not be able to find him. Turns around instead for Imagine. The rest of his team able to melt Granddaddy Jax as all the carries were running. There was no damage there. Culling coming out. Will it find anybody? No, it will not. But so amusing, and Dark Prince forced out. And Spin to Win comes in and finds both XX Wolf and Imagines there. Demacia and Justice finally killing Imagines. And that's a 3-for-0 trade here. Prismatic going to be happy with that one. It's going to give them the Inferno Drake as well here. And that's just going to snowball their lead that much more. Suddenly pull into a 4,500 gold lead for themselves. 3,000, not a big deal. 4,500 though, that's another 50% increase in their gold gap. They'll be more than happy to go back, spend their gold. And you can see the strength of the Olaf coming online right now. Wild Goose Chase is barely making it back to base before Just Storming turned the corner there. Will be saved though, so they won't gift another kill over at least. And Exit Wolf might be coming online, but he needs the space, he needs the safety to be able to free fire from the back. And Imagine still not completed the Blade of the Ruin King yet, so that's going to be absolutely massive for him. And did go the Ninja Tabbies as well, not the Berserker's Greaves, so the Culling not going to put out quite as much damage either. That's just setting Imagine Wagons further and further behind here. It's not like Prismatic have an amazing 5v5 composition. They have a solid one, but so does Imagine Wagons. And now we do see Just Storming running in, just waiting really for that Demacia and Justice, or finally comes back offline, and that's going to be another kill. He has to be careful though. Does not want to overstay his welcome as he's getting collapsed in by 3 here. And the Enchanted Crystal Arrow comes across. Will be able to force the flash out of Granddaddy Jax to secure that kill. So while Just Storming did go down, he traded 1-for-1 and did get the flash out as well. And now so amusing, having to run a good volley will stop the engage for now from Wild Goose Chase. And if you are the side of Imagine Wagons, you are down right now. You don't want to be turtling up. You actually want to be proactively looking for kills. We've seen how much damage that can come out from Wild Goose Chase there. And with Imagines, with Excess Wolf, a good hit shot along with the Culling should be able to nullify and kill almost anyone here except for Just Storming. And if it's Just Storming, they have more than enough sustained damage because the Blade of the Ruin King finally coming out from Imagines here. So despite Imagine Wagons being down right now, they actually can win picks that they get. They just don't want to engage in a 5v5 even fight. They can look to get a 3v3. As long as they're the ones pulling the trigger, getting the kills, they can actually win a lot of these fights. Just burst Matsi down, for example, who is carrying the bulk of his team's gold. If you ignore that top side of the map of Matsi and Just Storming, the leads aren't that huge. There's a 1,000k gold, 1,000 gold lead on Mickey Mouse, but besides that, the bot lane's actually going in favor of XX Wolf, so they just need to sort of isolate and kill Matsi here. Dredgeline comes out and they find XX Wolf. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow follows, and now Chum the Water means that XX Wolf will be dead here. Imagine Wagons who needs to pull the trigger if they want to come back into the game, but they're letting Prismatic do it instead. Now Glacial Fissure coming off. Mickey Mouse will go down there, but so does Dark Prince. They fire back. That's a 2-for-1 coming out from Imagine Wagons, and basically Wild Goose Chase right now, one of their major win conditions. But the problem is, what are they going to sacrifice to do this? Can Just Storming make them pay? He's going to go for this turret, and in the mid lane, so amusing, punishes Granddaddy Jax for the overchase because Matsi showing up there. A lot of that fight was won off the fact that Matsi wasn't there, and so when he shows up, you do need to respect that. You can't overchase. Granddaddy Jax was all on his own on that overchase there. The Cullen coming out just to clear this wave here, but look how much damage Imagines is taking just from the poke from So Amusing. Definitely not a worthwhile trade, and that top turret taken down real low by Just Storming right now. All eyes right now onto Wild Goose Chase here for the side of Imagine Wagons. The starts might be started off by a Glacial Fissure from Spenlow, but without Wild Goose Chase present, they aren't going to be winning those fights. So wherever Wild Goose Chase goes, that's where Imagine Wagons needs to look for plays. Whereas on the side of Prismatic Esports here, they've got a lot more options. Just Storming really far ahead, and Wild Goose is able to steal one of the big Krugs there. But it's going to be a lot of initiates from Dark Prince and Matsi as well, who can just run people down. Looks like they're setting up for this Inferno a little bit. It's a minute, though, before it spawns, and Prismatic wants that Infernal Soul for themselves. They want the additional damage, the burst as well. In the meantime, it looks like they're just going to go with a 1-3-1 split push potentially. They can send Mickey Mouse down to that bot side, leave Just Storming the top side. They don't have teleports, but no one in the game actually has teleports whatsoever. Everybody opting for more aggressive laning, because that's what's been winning these games thus far. Win lane, win game seems to be the name of it, but this game right now, it's shaping up a little differently. Prismatic struggling to close out despite their 5,000 gold lead. Right now, 6,000, pardon me, gold lead. And now Chum the Waters came out, but what on earth was going on there? Because Spenlow and Mickey Mouse was literally standing right next to each other, and now Mickey Mouse has to flash out. He's out of the fight for now. Dredgeline does, depth charge, pardon me, comes across. They find XX Wolf, but Matsi finds their back line, and that's XX Wolf going down here. Spenlow trying to survive. Summon Tibbers being used, but the stun component was not charged up, and so it looks like they might be able to get out instead. So Amusing just applying slows, and Mickey Mouse is finally back in the fight. His cooldowns are done. He's going to be able to find Spenlow, and they turn around and find Wild Goose Chase as well, and that's going to be all for nothing here. Only Imagine's left alive, but he has to back out as well. Is struggling to handle Just Storming, and Just Storming got the inner turret. They're going to get the Infernal Soul for themselves, and Prismatic proving me wrong. Just been not saying Prismatic struggling to close out the game. They find the fights they want. They find the objectives they need, and they're now 22-10 with the Inferno Soul and up just shy of 9,000 gold right now. And Prismatic have themselves a sizable lead. They should be able to win any fight on even numbers. We saw in that top lane, the 1v1, they have to win in that bot side fight, which had such a weird start with Spenlow and Mickey Mouse standing in the same bush together for quite a bit of time before they really seemed to realize that an enemy was there. And I'm not sure if the Chum the Waters was aimed at Spenlow or maybe it was aimed at Granddaddy Jax, but either way, in the bot lane, the flash coming up from Just Storming, he's looking to close the gap, and XX Wolf did not have his flash available, did burn it in the last fight, and that's going to be a free kill here, and now the numbers 5-4 right now. You could potentially see another fight breaking out in the jungle, and it's going to be Mickey Mouse getting burst down by Imagines, but at the cost of Wild Goose Chase. Now that Wild Goose Chase is down, I don't think they win this fight, because Imagines does manage to find So Amusing, but he's extremely low, and Matsi's still alive. Dark Prince getting the stun. Can they get the damage they need? Yes, they can, because Imagines fails the flash. He's outputting damage. but he will still go down despite that, and that's ultimately going to be a 2-for-3 fight in the top side, and that was with, it looked like Imagine Wagons getting the fight they wanted, pulled the trigger first, instantly burst out Mickey Mouse, who did not even really get Chum the Waters out, did not have it available, but So Amusing did as well, means that the push will be slow. They get all the inner turrets though, and that's going to grow their lead to more than 10k now at 26 minutes. If you are the side of Prismatic, you can just look to get the Baron and end the game here. And if you're Imagine Wagons, your backs are up against the wall. At least your base is safe, so you can look to just push out these lanes and try and contest the Baron take here from the side of Prismatic. And that's really what you have to do, because you aren't going to be winning any fights. Even 4v5, I don't think Imagine takes the fight at this point in the game. So they need something like the Baron to sort of even things out. And that has been the story of this series right now. Big leads from winning teams. And it's up to Imagine Wagons at this point to try and buck that trend, because if they fail to do so, they lose the series. And Prismatic must be feeling really happy with themselves. They're poised to finally get themselves their first series win here. And now Prismatic is all up. They aren't looking at Baron. Instead, it looks like they're looking to push up together down the mid lane. They're leaving Just Storming to split push right now. And there's nobody who can deal with the split push from Just Storming. So they're more than happy to leave him. Instead, they actually did end up going for Baron. And what are they doing? They cleared the vision out instead. And that means that there is vision now of Baron being done by the side of Imagine Wagons. Doesn't matter though. They're not in position. They've opted to try and at least get something onto Just Storming instead. But it's taking 3. The ace in the hole comes out as well. They finally do take him out, but at what cost? That's flashed down from Wild Goose Chase. Tibbers as well was dropped. So great, you killed Just Storming, but now you've got Baron coming out. Enchanted Crystal Arrow finding Granddaddy Jax. And that could be a kill here as the Undertow comes out. Unbreakable will not be enough, and that's 2 dead already. Exit extremely low. Mickey Mouse though had his cooldowns, was not able to turn around. Now Wild Goose Chase coming up. Tibbers though about to dematerialize soon enough. So will actually be killed before he can even dematerialize. And it's now a 4v3 with Baron pushing into the enemy base here. Can Imagines and Goose Chase hold this off for now? It doesn't look like it. They do clear most of the minions out though, so it's only the siege cannon here. Baron up pounding away at that inhibitor turret, but you can see each shot chunking it noticeably there, and that can only take about 5 more shots, it looks like. Doesn't matter. So Amusing going to go in and finish off this one here, and they're just backing off. They're not sticking around because all of Imagine Wagons is back up, and unfortunately for them, Just Storming, no teleport, still way back in base. And they did not base after the Baron, so they want to make sure they can go back and spend some of that gold. They've widened the lead now, 12,000, as if they needed a bigger lead, and that's reflected in the items heavily here in the top lane. Just Storming has 3 items to Imagine, just 2 completed items here in the jungle, though only 2 completed for Granddaddy Jackson. You're seeing 4 here for the side of Matty. He's way well and ahead of the curve. 11, 1, and 7 right now. I'm liking the look of Matty when you put him on a carry jungler in that mid lane. We see the 2 major items from Goose Chase there. He's got the Rylai's though for the continued slow, but when you look across the Mickey Mouse, the Lich Bane, the Zhonya's as well as the Proto Belt here means that he can easily engage onto that backline, and the ADC difference is absolutely massive. Only 2 major completed items from XX Wolf. You see 3 here. The Runan's completed for So Amusing as well as the Trinity Force means that in a lot of these extended fights, So Amusing will just simply out damage anything XX Wolf can hope to accomplish right now. And Prismatic, so though taking their time to set up this final push, they do have to be wary of wasting the Baron there. More than half of it already used up right now. Top side, Just Storming running through, will be able to find Just the Magic. He's tanking up the turret quite a bit though. And now Ace in the Hole comes out, will be enough. No, it's not. He gets away with less than 20 health, and instead the Ace in the Hole is going to keep XX Wolf in position while Mickey Mouse finishes in there. The flash as well. He's looking to run away as best he can from the Wild Goose Chase, who did use the Predators. Does get out after expending all his actives here as well as the flash. Now we do see Tibbers being used, but it's on to Matsy, and he can just Ragnarok his way out of that. He's turning around. He's looking for Spenlow as well. Can he get the double kill? Yes, he can. And now we do see Granddaddy Jax in as well. Mickey Mouse pumping out the pain. And now Matsy flashing back in. He gets himself a triple right now. And this is game, ladies and gents. The last series here for the Demacian division in the regular season has been completed. And Prismatic, congratulations to them. They managed to find their first and only win of the regular season here. And they are finally on the board. Will not end the season 31 minutes game, the longest of this series here, but still in tune with the rest of the series. It is a very one-sided 33-13 with a 12,000 gold, or 16,000 gold lead to end it. It's absolutely huge at 31 minutes here. And props to Imagine Wagons for actually keeping in the game as long as they did, considering how big the gold deficit was. And you look across the maps, across the gold values, Matsy with a 14-1-7 though, the largest on his team, ending 15,000 gold in a 31-minute game. Absolutely massive for him. And I think teams playing against Prismatic will have to take note. They might have lost most of their games, but Matsy with these carries, with that Hecarim, I think is definitely going to be ban-worthy with the Olaf as well. He knows how to run with a lead in the jungle. And Granddaddy Jax across from him, 6, 10, and 4 as well. Actually did a lot of work for his team. Often the first one into fights. He gets the kills. He gets killed a lot as well. But, I mean, aggression seems to be the name of the game right now for the Demacian division. The faster you can get the kills, the better a position you are in. And with that, that is the Demacian division once again done. The series done as well. And actually, no, sorry, that's not the Demacian division done. What am I saying? They still have the afternoon games. DOV Chaos, Glacial Omen versus War Mother's Children. So this is not the last game of the division, pardon me. It's just the last game of the series with Prismatic able to get a win there. So we will be back later today at 5 p.m. Eastern for Glacial Omen facing off against War Mother's Children. And Glacial Omen thus far have not lost a series either. So they are in a very solid position going into the playoffs, and we'll have to see if they can continue that today. And we have a bonus game at 8 o'clock Eastern as well, and that will be a live game here between, it looks like, let me check who's playing tonight, and it will be SFAD versus Imagine Wagons here in the playoffs, so definitely not something you want to miss. That will be a best of 5 at 8 p.m. Eastern, so I'll see you all around, and have a good day.
die.